Hello, this is Totera. I am posting a new YouTube video, part of a series I'm creating called Kill All the Things. This is my second video. My first was mostly an experiment with YouTube, but this one has got a lot more action in it. I am basically doing frigate PvP in faction warfare. I have joined the Galente side for faction warfare, and I'm flying, in this case, a Tristan in all of these fights. My Tristan has got blasters, it has an energy neutralizer, a cap booster, scrambler, a micro-warp drive, and ancillary armor repair, plus a couple other modules. Basically, with this ship I have good damage at all ranges because of the drones. My drones also make me very resistant to all types of E-war, and I can apply cap warfare, which is very effective in close range combat, and my ship is relatively fast with a micro-warp drive. Main disadvantage is 4 weapon systems have to be managed: the drones, the blasters, the energy neutralizer, and the scrambler. And I must manage my capacitor, plus the lack of web gives me limited range dictation. So here I'm in my first fight against a Condor. Condors are extremely popular ships in faction warfare, and there are actually 3 fights with the Condor in this. So Condor lands at the warp into the Plex. I'm about 40 kilometers away, which is a good range to be. We can assess each other, decide what to do. And I lock him up. I start powering towards him at AB speeds. This is kind of key. What I often do is I flutter my micro warp drive. Normally I can go 3,000 kilometers per second, but I only go about 1,100 with it fluttered. So he thinks I have an afterburner if he was paying attention, and he would be thinking, oh, he can probably kite me. In this case, he wasn't very smart. He basically powered right towards me, and I got my scram on him. He got his scram on me. He's going to brawl down a Tristan, which is a very bad idea. I quickly start applying my DPS. I get my drones on him, I get my blasters on him, and I get my energy neutralizer on him, and he's in big trouble. I switched to null because I'm having difficulty hitting him at that 5-kilometer range. These are electron blasters. They don't really have much range even with null. I don't think I ever hit him with my null with any of my blaster damage, but my drones eat him up pretty quickly. And he goes down. He has range dictation because of his status webifier, but in this case it doesn't matter. He's not smart enough to use it. He's actually trying to brawl me, which is kind of silly. My second fight is also with the Condor. This one works out a little bit different. In this case, I am again sitting at a Plex, and when the guy lands, I'm about 15-20 kilometers from him, which is again a good range to be. It means we can sort of assess each other and look at each other and decide whether we want to engage or not. I do a quick check on D-scan, see he's alone. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to lock him up and launch my drone since we're close enough. And let's try to figure out what to do. In this case, I decided to basically motor it towards him. Again, I flutter my micro-warp drive just in case he's going to try and kite me. In this case, he doesn't. He basically goes right towards me, scrams me, webs me. I scram him back, and I apply my damage, my drones, my blasters. Now, he is much smarter than the previous one. He's got me webbed. He knows he's in big trouble, and he starts powering away as much as he can. He probably has an afterburner, so even though he's scrammed, he can go 1,000 kilometers per second, and webbed, I can't do very much. However, I very quickly, when he pulls out of scram range, his scram goes off and my scram goes off, and I quickly turn on my micro-warp drive, which gives me enough of a speed boost to get within range of him again. And he should be orbiting me a lot further than he is, and he goes down. It's a great idea fluttering the micro-warp drive. I find it's very useful against any ship that you're preparing to, that you're worried about being kited with. If you pretend like you have an afterburner, they get very confident that you have an afterburner, and you can usually, at the last minute, surprise them. So my third fight I'm showing is also with a Condor. This one involves a little bit longer of assessing each other's fates. I'm landing at the warping point of the Plex. He has obviously seen me on D-scan and powered 140 kilometers away, and is starting to size me up. We sort of stare at each other. I kind of motor towards him without turning on any modules or any propulsion mods or anything. I don't want to give away anything about me. He gets a little closer to me. He's pretty confident that at 80 kilometers away, he knows he can disengage at any moment. And I know I can disengage at any moment. So right now we're sort of staring at each other, trying to figure out what to do. I see him at times move 4,000 meters per second, so I assume he's micro drive fit. So I know that, okay, if I get him in scrammed, he's going to be moving pretty slowly, and they have a pretty good chance on holding him down. He stares at me a whole bunch. He doesn't know what my propulsion mods are. He doesn't know anything about me. He may be taking some of this time to check Battle Clinic to see what my previous fits are, which is often a good idea. And I'm doing a lot of decisions, so I want to use overload. Anyways, I turn my micro drive power towards them. In this case, they don't flutter. I just want to get as close to him as quickly as possible. Figures it takes about 10 seconds to get to him. I probably should have overloaded everything. He starts hitting me with missiles, and he's playing around with the sensor dampener, which does nothing of use. He's obviously asleep at the wheel. I get my scramble on him before he gets a chance to react, and once I get scramble on him, he slows down. It's about the same speed as me, and I can get my damage on him, including my drones, my blasters, and my energy neutralizer. And now, once my drones catch up, because I was micro driving around, the damage starts hitting him pretty hard. Yes, it looks like I'm losing at first because I take so much armor damage, but then I turn on my armor repper. Again, I have a cap booster, so I can run that armor repper rather easily under almost any circumstance, and that can repair about a Condor's worth of damage when it's got 9-hit repair pace. So I'm in pretty good shape, and the battle suddenly seems to turn, and I take him out. Good fight. So, while faction warfare has a lot of Condors, there are some other ships you come into sometimes. My next fight involves a Incursus. Now, an Incursus is probably, at least it used to be sort of the king of the Galente frigate lineup. I now prefer the Tristan. Incursus is a close-range brawler, almost always. It has blaster bonuses, and it has a bonus to its small armor repair. So he probably has ancillary armor repair, and he can repair like crazy. Whether he has dual rep or single rep. Unfortunately for him, he has only 3 med slots, so he has to make a choice between a cap booster or a web, and he went with a web, which gives him range control for the entire fight, though he doesn't really use it effectively. But it means that he can't run his repper for very, very long once I get my energy neutralizer on him. I suck his cap dry. He's got a NOS on me, I think, at some point in this fight, but it doesn't matter. He can't, actually, he doesn't apply NOS on me because doesn't have the extra high slot. So he's running out of cap. He starts shutting off his modules. His afterburner goes off. His scrambler goes off. He's basically out of options. He's got 1 drone shooting at me, and I take him out pretty darn quickly at this point. There's something satisfying in Eve when you take an enemy ship and you turn it off, whether it be ECM or neutralizing it or whatever. When you're in a 1-for-1 fight and the other ship just can't do anything, it's sitting there and waiting to die, and I love that. Anyways, after I kill him, his friend, I'm not sure it's actually his friend, but somebody in a Killer Navy hookbill shows up, wanting to play. I don't want to stick around. I've got way too much, overheat damage and almost no nanite repair pace left, so I get the heck out of there. I would take a fight with the Qatari Navy hookbill most of the time, but not when I already have a lot of damage. So here I am. Next fight, my 5th fight, is against a Tristan. Again, he's kind of pretending to be like that Incursus. Close range fit, he's got a scrambler, and as you'll find out, he also has a webifier, so he's the exact same problem, where he will not have the capacitor to run any armor repper or anything once I get my neutralizer on him. I quickly start applying my damage, applying my drone damage, applying my blasters, and most importantly, that neutralizer. That neutralizer does wonderful things. It takes out his ability to control the fight. My armor repair is I'm tanking his damage reasonably well for as long as that armor repair will last. Fortunately, I have a cap injector, so I'm not going to run out of cap. Meanwhile, this guy almost certainly is. He is probably at this point trying to decide if he's going to use his blasters, is he going to keep his webifier on, he's going to use his afterburners, because he can't do everything with 1 NOS. And quite quickly he starts going down. His damage falls off as his blasters go off, and I'm repairing his damage. I'm getting almost nothing, and he's cooked. So the use of a cap booster instead of Stasis webifier means I have a lot more control over the cap situation. While he has control over range, it's hard for him to actually use it, and I take him out pretty quickly. Of course, against a better ship, the Tristan has limitations. Sometimes I take fights against better ships like a hookbill. This one, you can see how to fight a Tristan very well. He does it perfectly. He is set up perfectly with a web of fire and that scrambler. So he takes out my micro-warp drive, and he takes out my turrets, and he basically slows me down. So he's got complete range dictation. But instead of powering too close to me or anything, he sits at the edge of scram range. So I'm about 7,500 meters away from him, which is not close enough to do any damage with my blasters, nor, and more importantly, it's not close enough for my neutralizer to do anything to him. So I can pound away at him with my drones, which do some damage, but you know, it's not going to be enough. I need more than just drone damage against a ship that's a Navy ship when I'm just in a T1 ship. And as soon as I run out of repair paste, I'm in big trouble. My armor repairer tries to make a valiant effort once it's out of repair paste, and I do get this guy through shields, but it's just not enough. And I go down in ball glory. So if you're fighting a Tristan or a ship like mine that's using a neutralizer against you, stay about 7,500 meters away, and I can't do anything to you except the drone damage, and he was certainly able to handle my drone damage. So, thanks for watching. For more of my stuff, check out my blog, scramweb.blogspot.ca. And of course, this is my YouTube channel. ISK donations are always appreciated. Not that I've ever had any. This is a new channel. Make them in-game to my character Totera, and I will do more videos. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.